Yesterday, Bernie Sanders came out on top in the Wyoming primary, having beat Hillary by 12%. But thanks to how the Democratic Party in Wyoming awards pledged delegates, in the end, Hillary ended up walking away with more delegates. Wyoming has 4 superdelegates. Let me explain. Party elites who are basically free to cast their votes at the convention for whatever candidate they want, and that's separate from what the state's voters want. So basically, all 4 of Wyoming's superdelegates were announced in January, and they all intend to vote for Hillary Clinton. That was taken into account here. This means that even though Sanders won the state by 12 points, Hillary actually has 11 delegates to 7 for Sanders leaving Wyoming. I just want to make it clear that is for now. Superdelegates can, however, at any point in time change, and they can change their vote from Hillary for whatever reason, at any time, basically until the very end, from Hillary to Sanders, vice versa, if they want. So that's just temporary, but still, you have to wonder at the unusual way that Wyoming operates in the primary process, given that even though the guy won by 12%, which isn't exactly the largest margin, but it's not the smallest either, that he could still end up losing and walking away with less delegates in one way or another, although he won the vote. And, look, I was in this very chair not very long ago, I do this all the time, talking about, how Republicans basically disenfranchise a lot of their voters, how they make it difficult for people to vote and things like that. So I just want to highlight, I don't want to be hypocritical, I want to make it known that this kind of stuff happens on both sides here. And I think it's time for some serious reform as far as the voting process goes, or at least in the beginning, because we have to understand, one more thing, Joya, that, these are essentially, when we're talking about the primaries and the caucuses, these are 2 private clubs that are basically choosing what candidates to send out for us, and then we vote in November. But as far as this part, in the very beginning, well, it's kind of tricky and it's kind of complicated, and it's not one vote, one person.
Right, exactly. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head when you're talking about the kind of private club aspect of it. A lot of people, a lot of just general voters are cynical about the fact that even though Bernie is gaining such a groundswell of support from people, then you have this delegate system, and especially the superdelegates. I know that really confuses people, but it does. It is interesting. So these superdelegates, they announced initially that they were going to be voting for her, but we don't actually know. They're not bound, right? Have they? They're
not. No, like I said, they can change at any time, and we saw the same thing in 2008. It happened a bunch. But the thing is here, though, as the way that Wyoming operates, it's like you have to have 12.25% of the votes basically to get one more delegate. So just in the beginning, Wyoming's kind of strange as far as the way that they choose to award delegates, but oftentimes they award them equally to each candidate unless you get over 12.25%. So he just missed that margin. But still, they take in the superdelegates into account in the beginning, right? And a lot of states don't do that. So for that reason, even though he won, he didn't really win because he needs those delegates. So I guess we're gonna have to wait and see if Bernie Sanders can bounce back from this victory in Wyoming.